Ki Mohabbat, written by author Almas. Prologue. After 7 long years, Uns stepped off the plane and onto the familiar soil of her homeland, India. She had returned seeking solace and rest from the demanding world of medicine, longing to immerse herself in the warmth of her family, the comfort of her friends, and the memories she had left behind. As she gathered her luggage, memories of him flooded her mind. She remembered his smile, his laughter, and the way he had made her feel alive. Despite the years that had passed, his presence lingered in every corner of her mind, a bittersweet reminder of a love lost but never forgotten. With a heavy heart and a determined spirit, she made her way to Reza Mansion, her childhood home. Standing before its grand gates, she felt a wave of emotions wash over her. She had come full circle, back to where it all began. "Finally, I am home," she whispered to herself, a mix of sadness and nostalgia in her voice. Little did she know her journey was far from over. Uns Reza's point of view. As I stepped into the mansion, a shower of flowers greeted me, falling gently around me like a floral welcome. There, standing in front of me, was my mother, her eyes glistening with tears. I rushed to her, embracing her in a tight hug. "Mom, why are you crying? Aren't you happy to see me?" I asked, my voice filled with concern. She gently patted my head, her touch comforting. "My dear Uns, these are tears of joy," she said, her voice choked with emotion. "I am so happy that you are back." Feeling reassured, I smiled and said, "I missed you so much, and where is Dad?" Mom's expression changed, and a shadow crossed her face. Uns, your father is in the hospital. He had an important meeting to attend, but don't worry, he will join us for dinner." I felt a pang of sadness. My father always seemed to be caught up in work, never having enough time for us. We had never sat down and had a normal conversation after that incident. But for now, I pushed those thoughts aside, focusing on the joy of being back home, surrounded by the love of my family. "Mom, I'm so hungry right now," I said, feeling the familiar pangs of hunger after the long journey. "I'll freshen up, and please send a cup of coffee for me." I made my way to my room, the room I had left untouched 7 years ago. As I entered, I was struck by the familiarity of it all. The maroon theme, the arrangement of the furniture, everything was just as I had left it. It was as if time had stood still in this room. While unpacking my clothes, I decided to call my best friend, Eza. "Hey, Eza, I finally reached home. It feels so good to be back," I said, relief evident in my voice. "Congratulations, Uns. Finally, you're getting some time for yourself. Enjoy your vacation," she replied cheerfully. I asked her about her plans to visit. Now I have 3 shootings back to back. I'll think about it after that. Have you eaten something?" she inquired. Before I could answer, she hesitated for a moment and then asked, "Will you meet him?" I was taken aback. "What are you saying, Eza? It's been 7 years and I don't even know where he lives or how he looks now. Let's not talk about him. Let me pack my stuff. I'll call you later," I replied, trying to dismiss the topic. After ending the call, I started unpacking my belongings when I heard my mom calling me downstairs for lunch. I went down eagerly, looking forward to some tasty food. However, my excitement turned to disappointment when I saw all vegetarian dishes laid out on the table. "Mom, what is this? Have all the greens taken over the menu? Where are the kebabs? Where is the biryani?" I exclaimed, unable to hide my disappointment. "Mom, why did you make all vegetarian dishes?" I asked, my tone curious. With a hint of anger, my mom replied, "Uns, whenever I used to ask you what you ate, weren't you the one telling me that you were eating salad, vegetables, juice? I thought my daughter now likes these things, so I made them specially for you." I responded, "Mom, I was forced to eat that way in America. It's very rare to eat Indian food there, and I hate all this. Can I have biryani now?" "Okay, Baba, be in your room, I will bring it," my mom said as she went back to the kitchen to get the food. I came back to my room and continued arranging my clothes in the wardrobe, talking to myself, "Uns, do it fast so that you can decide what you will be doing in these 3 months." Lost in my thoughts, I was startled when my mom entered the room with a plate of biryani and kebabs. The aroma was intoxicating, and I couldn't wait to dig in. I left everything and sat on my bed eagerly. My mom started feeding me. In between mouthfuls, I exclaimed, "Ya Allah, it's the tastiest thing I've eaten in 7 years. Thank you so much, Mom." She smiled at my response and continued to feed me. But as I savored the delicious food, a thought nagged at me. Why was my mom feeding me with her own hands? There seemed to be something more behind her actions. Curiosity getting the better of me, I asked her, "Mom, why this special treatment? What do you want from me?" My mom gave me an awkward smile and said, "Uns, at 8 p.m., you should reach this place to meet someone. I will send you the address." I felt a lump form in my throat as I choked on her words. "What? Mom, seriously?" I exclaimed, confusion evident in my voice. "It's only been a few hours since I came here, and you're telling me to meet some stranger, chosen by my own mom? I'm not going." I stood up, ready to leave the room, but my mom held my hand and said, "Uns, Beta, you're already 25. You have achieved your dreams. It's the right time to consider marriage. I'm not forcing you. I just want you to meet him once. If after meeting you still think he's not right for you, I will not force you to meet anyone else. Do whatever you want after that. But just for your mom's sake, meet him." I was torn. I wasn't in the mood to meet anyone, but I couldn't refuse my mom. Finally, I gave in, knowing that my mother only wanted what she thought was best for me. After she left, I called Eze and told her everything. As soon as I told Eze everything, she started laughing from the other side of the line. Irritated, I said, "I'm telling you my problems, and you're laughing, Eze?" She tried to stifle her laughter and said, "Hasunai Tokia Karu, just now you reached, and your mom has already selected someone for you to meet. Who knows what will happen with that poor guy?" "Are you insulting me or him?" I asked, trying to contain my annoyance. "Obviously him," Eze replied, her laughter still evident in her voice. I shook my head, unable to believe her audacity. "Very funny, Eze. Anyway, suggest me something to wear," I said, trying to steer the conversation back to a more serious tone. "What have you planned to wear?" she asked. "I'm still in shock about meeting some stranger, and do you think I thought about the outfit?" I replied, exasperated. After a moment of thought, Eze suggested, "Uns, wear the black gown, which you wore on your birthday." "Eze, I can't believe you. I don't want to impress anyone," I replied, feeling a mix of frustration and confusion. But Eze was adamant. "You're wearing that gown, end of discussion. Get ready and call me after meeting him," she said firmly, before abruptly ending the call. I stood there, holding the gown she had suggested. A wave of reluctance washed over me. I didn't want to go through with this meeting, let alone dress to impress. But Eze's words lingered in my mind, and reluctantly I began to get ready to meet Mr. Stranger. Aziz Netter was a man of routines. Each morning, without fail, he would rise with the sun and make his way to his personal gym. His muscular arms glistened with sweat as he immersed himself in his workout, his long hair a tousled mess, framing his expressionless face that was solely focused on the task at hand. After completing his exercise regimen, Aziz would freshen up, wrapping himself in a comfortable bathrobe. As he searched for his suit to begin his day at the office, a knock at the door interrupted his thoughts, adding an element of surprise to his otherwise regimented morning. Aziz Nader, point of view. As I opened the door, I was met with a surprising sight. My mom, holding a tray with my morning tea and fruits. Her presence in my doorway at this hour was unusual, as she rarely brought tea to my room unless she had something specific in mind. Greeting her, I invited her in and she gracefully took a seat on the couch beside me. There was a certain gleam in her eyes, a smile playing at the corners of her lips that told me she had a purpose in mind. Sitting down opposite her, I inquired, "What is it that you want from me, Mom?" She looked surprised and asked, "How did you know?" I gave her a small smile and replied, "Ah, pain ka beta hoon." She smiled back and said, "Before that, drink your tea. It may get cold." Taking a sip, I felt a sense of bliss. "Ami-Jan, it's so good. I can't live without drinking your handmade tea." Mom responded, "What will you do when I am not there? I will not be with you forever to make tea for you, Aziz. But don't worry, I have a solution." Curious, I asked, "What is the solution?" With a smile, she said, "You don't have to do anything. I will send you the address. You just need to go there and meet someone. That's it." Not believing her words, I replied, "Ami, Aziz, no. I'm not going anywhere. I am going to the office. See you later." And I opened the door to leave. As I was about to step out, I heard her say, "This is what was left to see now. I am just asking you to meet her, not to marry." I went back and sat down again. "Mom, you know I'm not ready for this yet. Let me focus on my dreams," I pleaded. Her tone turned slightly stern. "How many years do you need? You're already 28, so you're going, right?" Feeling trapped, I reluctantly said, "Yes," and stood up to leave. But before I could, she called out, "Are you wearing this for your date?" she asked. I corrected her. "It's blind date for me, and not even a blind date, it's a forced date." "Then wear a white shirt," she instructed, completely ignoring what I just said. "Okay," I replied, turning to leave. But my dear mother wasn't done yet. "Roll up your sleeves, you'll look handsome," she added. "Okay, Mom, can I go now?" I asked, turning to leave again, but she stopped me once more. "Take a bouquet, don't go empty-handed," she said firmly. Exasperated, I stood in front of her. "I am standing here. Take your time and tell me everything I should be doing on my forced date," I said, trying to make light of the situation. She smiled, seemingly satisfied. "Everything is set now. Just reach on time. Don't make her wait." "Yes, Mom, I will keep it in mind. See you later. Take care." Sharp at 7:50, I found myself sitting in the same cafeteria where I first met my first love. The memories flooded back. Her smile, her anger, our first fight. Even this daisy bouquet I held reminded me of her. It had been 7 years, but still, I couldn't think of anyone else but her. She was the only woman I ever laid my eyes on. I was here to meet a stranger because of my mom. But what about my heart, which belonged only to her? As I waited, I glanced around the cafeteria. It was all so familiar, yet so different without her presence. Time seemed to slow down as I checked the clock. 8:15. 10 more minutes, Aziz, I told myself. If the stranger doesn't come, go home. Lost in my thoughts, I was scrolling through my phone when I heard a familiar voice say, "Excuse me?" Startled, I turned around, and there she was, the person I never thought I'd meet again after 7 years. "Uns," I blurted out, shocked to see her. She, too, seemed taken aback. "Aziz, up," she responded, her voice filled with disbelief. My world seemed to stop as I gazed into her eyes, the same eyes I had fallen in love with all those years ago. However, before I could say anything, she started sneezing uncontrollably. "Aziz, not again. This Daisies," she managed to say between sneezes. Realization hit me like a ton of bricks. Uns is allergic to daisies. As she left abruptly, still sneezing, I stood there, stunned by our unexpected reunion and the flood of emotions it had brought.